I'm here with Mr. Mario Doyle, CEO of National Guardian Security, and he's here today with us to share a few ideas on what he thinks can make India the next superpower. Hello Mario, good afternoon.
Thank you, Annie.
So now you've lived abroad for a few years. So based on your experience, what do you think India can do better in terms of infrastructure? Do you think the governments here have done enough in terms of road facilities or transport facilities for its citizens?
India has been independent for the past 60 years, and in the past 60 years we are yet to see toilets in schools. Recently the Supreme Court has passed an order where all schools should have toilets, but the question we need to ask is, why hasn't this been done for the past 60 years? So we've had almost 12 presidents, we've had various governments come and go. Who's accountable for this? Why can't we go back? Is there a place where anyway we can go and blame somebody for this? So if we can't blame somebody in the last 60 years, I don't see why this cannot repeat itself in the next 60 years. Infrastructure is A, B, C and D. The government gives us the basic, which is A, the roads. When the government gives us the roads, then automatically the private citizens and everybody else will use that facility for development. Be it private colleges or buildings or anything else. But unless the government gives us proper roads, there will be no development in the coming years.
You also have a passion for creating crime awareness. So do you think India is safe for its women? What more can we do in terms of crime prevention against women?
Crime by itself is a study of the human mind. When crime takes place, there has to be an environment for it to occur. There has to be a victim, there has to be an offender, and there has to be an environment. What we've been doing is, all these years, we are looking at chasing the criminal, the previous offenders or the to-be offenders. We have stopped looking at the environments in which they create their profession, where they execute their profession. We need to change our thinking and start looking at areas where crime is committed. For example, every crime requires an environment. If the police start looking at areas where crime can take place, the environment in which it takes place, then you're being proactive. Police force, instead of being reactive, should start being proactive. Identifying areas where crime will take place. For example, let us take the recent bomb blast. We know fully well we've been surrounded by terrorist organizations. There have been terrorism taking place in various cities. Yet we fail to educate the public as to look for something which is suspicious. If that was there, posters were there, the girl who died in the train could have been avoided. Because definitely, if there was a poster there, she should have looked under a seat to see that the bag didn't belong to her. So education and identifying areas where crime is likely to take place should be the focus for crime prevention. Because there will always be criminals in the present, in the future, in the years to come. You cannot stop criminals, but you can delay them from committing the offense if you know exactly where they will commit the offense.
Okay. So another problem India faces is corruption. It probably is one of the biggest problems in India.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your comments on vigilance and anti-corruption?
Corruption takes place when there is no system in place. Any place which doesn't have a system is open to corruption. System should control things, not people. For example, if you have an office where there are constant payments to be made, the government should have a system where an online payment can be made instead of you approaching an officer who will ask you for a kickback. There should be a system where it is transparent, where you and I know exactly what we can do, what we cannot do, know our rights and responsibilities, read the chart and say, well, this is what I'm entitled to, this is what the fees is, and this is what's going to cost me. So that the person cannot ask me for anything extra. Then I make the payment online. Because everybody has mobile phones now, so we are live in a very modern world. So there are no excuses. There is no excuse not to fight corruption. Second, segregation of duties. If something has to be executed, you segregate the duties from people. So one takes the order, another one receives the payment, another one accounts for it. When everything goes to one particular person, then he falsifies the books, he can ask for a kickback, he can do so many things because there's only one person. Create a system where there's segregation. There are more people involved, there are more checks and balances. That's the simplest way to fight corruption. And being a modern world, as much as possible we should have online payments.
Thanks. In terms of rural development, do you think our leaders have paid enough attention to developing farmers and other facilities in the rural areas?
Rural development, as I said earlier, we are yet to have toilets in schools. If we want to, there are two parts in a man's career. One is education and then is the work. If you want to have rural development, one is you need to have the roads, you need to have toilets in the bathroom for children to study, and then they need to go to a college, which they don't have. There are no government colleges nearby. They drop out. One is they are dropping out in the 5th grade or 6th standard because there are no toilets. The girls don't go to school. So it starts from the roads, the toilets, the basic things. See, before going to Y, X, or X, Y, Z, we need to go back to the foundation of what is required. If you don't have a road, you don't have a toilet, then you have no children coming to school. And when they go to school, there are no proper classrooms. And then you go, there are no colleges. And then from the rural area, they are traveling 100 kilometers to go back to nearby factory. So, education, basic education facilities should be there. Second is, after education, you should also have colleges after the high school and plus 2, colleges, government colleges at the rural areas. And then, instead of taking the rural people to the city where the factories are, take the factories to the rural areas. Because many people, they still have their farmland, they still have their parents working in the fields, the son has gone to college, yet he can't leave his parents behind. And we also have to remember that almost 70% of the population of India still lives in rural areas. Now that should be tapped. If we encourage factories and companies to go to rural areas, it benefits them while in the manufacturing, the cost, at the same time it gives employment to the people. So instead of taking the rural people to the city and to the factories, take the factories to the rural areas.
So those were some good insights. Let's now talk about national skill development. So based on your experience abroad, do you think our government is doing enough to empower our youth? What are the changes they can do in terms of education, assessment methods in schools and colleges, and overall national skill development?
See, one is the fact of the matter is we are short of skills in every area. The government should have more training centers in skill development, because we know that we require skills. For office to be built, we need masons, we need carpenters, we need electricians. We have a shortage of lakhs of people, and because of lack of labor, skilled labor, things don't happen fast enough, which then again affects the growth of the country. Government should have more skilled training centers in every area, in every rural area, in the city, all parts of the country. The next is, when you have the training center, how do you assess these candidates? Now, each of us have a different way of explaining ourselves on a particular subject. Some of us can speak well, some of us can write well, and some can demonstrate well, practically. So, sometimes students don't take up a particular skill because they can't write about it. They don't go to college because they can't write much, because they've been coming from a Tamil medium section, and they've been from 1st to 10th in Tamil medium, then they have to go to English medium, they can't write well, they fail their college. Assessment methods are a very important thing. Once the child or the person finishes his training, we have to grade him. There are 3 things we should use to assess a person. One should be written. If they can't write properly, it becomes verbal. You talk about it. The third is practical. So that's how you assess a person. Unless we change our assessment methods, people will not be going to colleges, because that could be the reason which we haven't identified. Many people say, I can't write, so why should I go to this course? And many people say, I can't demonstrate, so why do I go for this course? He should be given an option, and that should be his right to demonstrate his knowledge about that subject. That knowledge can be ascertained, the underpinning knowledge can be ascertained if they are given these three choices. Even though it may not be applicable for all things, wherever it is applicable, they should be given a choice of three assessment methods.
So thank you so much for joining us on the India Next campaign. Thank you for coming here and sharing your views with us. Thank you so much.